Today, we're going to talk about a brand new list of things for you not to do when you're developing characters. We call it the Ick List, and I'm going to tell you how to not get on it. Hey there, welcome back to the channel, or welcome if it's your first time here. I'm John Hartness. I'm the founder and publisher of Falstaff Books, as well as the author of 42 novel-length works, including The Black Knight Chronicles, Bubba the Monster Hunter, Quincy Harker Demon Hunter, and a whole pile of other stuff, which you can find clicking the link in the description. And today, we're going to talk about the Ick List. What's the Ick List, John? I can hear you asking. Well, the Ick List is a list of things in your book that make somebody say, ick, or ugh, or I'm tired of seeing this trope. My God, why am I reading this again? It's not my personal list of things I'll DNF a book over. No, this is a list of things that you should probably keep out of your book if you want to reach the widest audience and have the greatest potential for success in the wider publishing world. You're not going to like some of these. I don't care. So let's jump right in with everybody's favorite, the Mary Sue, the self-insert. I get it. We all try to insert ourselves into our work to some degree or another. It's almost impossible. And in a lot of times, when we do this, we're making our protagonist like us, only way cooler. You know, Quincy Harker's like me. He's snarky, he's foul-mouthed. He's also skinny, largely immortal, and can throw fireballs. So, you know, just like me, only better. And not. I'm not the offspring of two people who were bitten by vampires. I'm not over 100 years old. I've never met Dracula, other than Halloween. But you get what I'm saying. While it's one thing to put some element of your characters, of yourself into your characters, it's a whole nother thing if I were to write a book about an older middle-aged guy who grew up in rural South Carolina and now has to save the world. And it's obviously patterned after me, except he's also everything I'm not. But I'm putting myself into the book. And then I'm turning all of my attributes to 11 and turning down all of my flaws. Like if I were writing myself as a Mary Sue, he would not be lazy. He would not be hopelessly addicted to Mountain Dew for breakfast. He would be half the man I am today. Not really. I don't want to be 150 pounds, but I wouldn't mind being 250. You see what I mean, though. And there are certain genres where this runs rampant. This is a huge thing in lit RPG. And it happens in a lot of urban fantasy as well. And one of the characteristics of these genres that self-insert a lot more is that a lot of the stuff in them is written in first person. So that says that if you're going to write a book in first person point of view, you need to be cautious about how you're creating the character and making sure that you're not just Mary Sueing yourself into the book. And no, not all lit RPG books do this, and no, not all urban fantasy books do this. That's not what I'm saying. For God's sake, stop typing that. What I'm saying is that it does show up more often in those genres, at least in my experience. I read a fair bit in those genres. But yeah, Mary suing yourself into the story. I was talking about this with AJ Hartley just last night at a signing because I was complimenting him on writing himself into the Hideki Smith Demon Queller books in a way that isn't annoying. Because the character he created that is his analog in that world is a goofball. Now, AJ is sometimes also a goofball, but not all that often. So he did not self-insert himself and glow up all of his attributes. He actually knocked down some of his personal attributes to make the character sillier. And that's a way to do a self-insert that is self-deprecating and thus not annoying. Because that's something that's very important to remember. Don't annoy your readers. If you annoy your readers, they're not going to keep reading. There are a couple million books published every year now. Once you've got someone who's looking at your work, don't do anything to drive them away. What's next? Oh, yeah. Contrived and irrelevant, stupid flaws or weaknesses that then you have to build the whole story around so you can pay it off. And my favorite example of this is Unbreakable. Bruce Willis's character in Unbreakable is invulnerable somehow. He's never been sick. He's never missed a day of work because he fell down and sprained his ankle. He doesn't get hurt. But Bruce Willis's Unbreakable character had this one huge flaw. He's afraid of water. Okay, don't live at the ocean. Don't live near a lake. So they had to build this whole story around so that he could end up getting tackled into a swimming pool so he could be vulnerable. And then he could overcome this very contrived flaw. And yeah, I know, M. Night Shyamalan is a genius of a filmmaker, but that was contrived. And then once he had built up this fatal flaw, he had to build a whole movie around using it. Otherwise, it becomes a Chekhov's gun. If you don't know what I'm talking about by a Chekhov's gun, find the video where I talk about Chekhov's gun and watch it. You'll have to watch a lot of my videos to do that, and that's what I'm doing. Another thing that's on the Ick list is tokenism. You want a diverse cast of characters because the world is diverse and you want your characters to reflect the world. So you don't want to build monolithic cultures a la David Eddings, where everyone in a country looked alike for some weird reason. I don't know, man. It was the 70s and 80s. But you also don't want your cast to look like a CW cast list from 2005 or an old United Colors of Benetton ad. So don't just randomly insert a character and make them gay because you feel like you need a gay character. Write a character that happens to also be gay. Write a good, strong, well-rounded character that happens to be female. And that can be a part of their identity, but it can't be their entire identity. When you do that, you create wooden characters or monolithic characters that are only one thing. And nobody is only one thing. Making sure that you check every box, it's not what you're trying to do. You're trying to build a strong, diverse cast of characters because they're good characters. It's not a checklist. This next one's kind of a biggie. Not everyone needs or deserves a redemption arc in your book. Sometimes your villain is just awful, and the payoff for the audience is seeing them die a horrible death. That's okay. Don't feel like every character in your book has to be so well rounded that we understand what you're going for and we understand why they are the way they are. It doesn't have to be this whole thing about we know why Thanos was bad and we're sympathetic with Thanos before he snaps out half of all life in the universe. Yes, the more people I meet, the more I think Thanos had the right idea, but that's also not what you need to be doing. If you're spending a 3-hour movie showing us how awful this character is, don't redeem them. Pay it off and let them be bad and let them get what's coming to them, because that's what your audience wants. You got to give the people what they want. You don't need to redeem your bad guy. Yeah, you can still write it so that your bad guy is the hero of his own story, because good villains think they're the hero. A well-rounded villain can think that what they're doing is right. And then everything you do as the writer is showing us that the villain is still the villain, and we're going to have the hero kill the villain, and everybody's going to then go back to the Shire and have a party or whatever. So don't feel like every awful person in your book needs to be redeemed somehow. And this last one is actually kind of a list of things to avoid. They all kind of rotate around race and gender in your characters. So here are things to avoid. The white savior. For God's sake, we've seen it, all right? The white savior trope is old, it is boring, and tired. Yes, you can have a hero who happens to be white. But if you have a cast of persons of color and the white guy comes in at the end and saves them all, what the hell are you doing in 2025 writing that story? We've seen it for hundreds of years. Please stop. Stop burying your gays. If the gay character only exists to die or to be evil, stop writing one-dimensional characters and stop villainizing your gay characters, stop villainizing your black characters. Avoid stereotypes because they will make your readers go ick. And don't fridge your female characters. You may not know what I mean when I say fridging. And it's a term that comic writer extraordinaire and novelist now, Gail Simone, came up with in around 1999, 2000. And it was named after an incident in a Green Lantern comic where Kyle Rayner comes home and finds out that the bad guy has murdered his girlfriend and stuffed her in the refrigerator. That female character only existed to suffer a tragic end and motivate the male hero. She wasn't well-rounded. She didn't serve another narrative purpose. She was a plot device to get the hero to do something. And many of us have done it. I have done it myself. And it doesn't read nearly as well today as it did 30 years ago. Because obviously it didn't read very well 25 years ago when Gail Simone coined the term. Women need agency, and female characters need to have a purpose within the narrative. They should be well-rounded. They should have things to do. They should not exist only to die and spur the hero to vengeance. Because not only is it weak storytelling, not only is it misogynistic, it's boring as piss. And that's the crux to a lot of these things that are on the ick list, is they're icky because A, they reflect a time that we are no longer in, so don't do that. And B, they're boring. We've seen all of this crap for years and years, so don't do them. Write original stuff. Do something new. Write real, three-dimensional, fleshed out characters that go about their lives and do awesome things. And then nobody's going to be reading it and say, ick, ew, because if you do that, you may have sold this person a book, but you won't sell them the next one. So there you go. What things in a book make you go ick? Leave a note in the comments and tell me what makes you go ick, or tell me if you don't mind any of these things that I've just described. Tell me if they don't bother you at all. If not, that's great. You're a more forgiving reader than I am. You're almost certainly a more forgiving reader than I am. So leave a note. If you've stuck around this long, you may as well give us a like, give us a subscribe. Hey, if you want to support the channel directly, you can become a member and you can be listed right here with all of these great people. And they get their videos a little early. So you can join us. You can subscribe for completely free. Give us a like. It costs nothing. And if you want to toss a coin to your Witcher, join up. Till next time, bye y'all.